Welcome to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinosky. Industry has a million cool stories, and Jim talks to the movers and shakers who are making them happen. Let's dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Manufacturing Talks, and holy cow, do we have a phenomenal show for you today. I've got Scott MacKenzie. He is Managing Director of Industrial Talk Media, and also much more that we're going to find out about. Scott, welcome.
Well, hey, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and say it straight up. I was on your show recording 3 days ago. And yet we're going to have huge amounts to talk about. Well, we won't be able to get to it all. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, Jim, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it's funny being on this side of the mic, whatever. Right. Because I, being peppered with questions is always something like I could always lean back and say, well, I'm not being interviewed. At least I can pepper you now. All of a sudden, I'm being peppered.
Yep. Your turn in the guest seat. So here we go. Well, why don't we start off? Just tell us who Scott MacKenzie is, how you got doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I've been in business for many, many years. I took a company public and then I retired. And then I didn't like retirement. I hated retirement. It took about 7 days for me to come to that conclusion. I decided that I needed to start an industrial maintenance company. Now, I know there's probably people in your audience going, oh my gosh, that's a lousy business.
There are eyes rolling.
It is. And nobody wants to talk about industrial maintenance, but I did it nonetheless. And it is an awful business model, but needed to figure out a mechanism to be able to have conversations, to find, the companies I wanted to try to provide services to, because nobody wanted to talk about industrial maintenance. And so I'm driving back, I'm on the road, I'm listening to podcasts, and then all of a sudden some sort of lightning bolt hit me and said, I could do that. I called my IT group. I said, hey, I want to do podcasting. And they said, oh, okay. What do you want to call it? What do you want? And that just started the wheels turning. And then, of course, the World Wide Web. I go out there and I'm doing everything I can. I'm all hopped up on goofballs now because I think it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread, man. I'm going and I'm finding all this equipment. This was about 9 years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah, you were one of the first.
Yeah. I took a bullet. I was attracted to every shiny thing out there. I blew through wads of cash just because I thought it was the right thing to do.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I need to have that. And then all of a sudden, you learn it. It just is what it is. So I'm out there on air. I'm looking. I'm trying to research what I need to do. And then all of a sudden, I come up with there it is, my mixer. You should have seen this mixer that I found out that is really good, but I'm looking at it. I'm just looking at the picture, and I'm already in cold sweat. I'm thinking to myself, look at the knobs on that thing. I don't even know. But I'm committed. I'm married to this podcast vision, so I'll buy it. So I buy
investment.
Yeah, it comes in. I unwrap it. I look at it, and I start sort of heaving a little bit because I'm thinking to myself, you are an idiot, Scott. How in the heck are you going to ever, and you sit there and you figure it out. And all of a sudden you're like, all right, I figured it out. And it was just sort of this, and to your listeners, just do it. Just figure it out. That's the journey. That's the fun stuff. Yeah, you're in the middle of the trenches and you're saying to yourself, I don't like this at all. This doesn't feel good. Well, just do it. Just soldier on and just keep moving forward. So anyway, I started that, and I just wanted some way of being able to approach Acme. I'm keeping the companies very generic, Acme, and say, hey, I see you have an outage, and I think the listeners of Industrial Talk would love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And that was it. And at that time, I think I had 2 listeners, and they were forced. My wife and my son. They were forced.
They didn't even sign themselves up, right?
Subscribing, get out there now. And I'm texting them, did you subscribe? Did you subscribe? Anyway, yeah, fast forward, it worked. And I sold that company. And then all of a sudden, I just started an industrial media company to live my Discovery Channel dream, to talk to people like you, Jim, and others about industry. And it's intentionally industry. So I can talk manufacturing. I can talk oil and gas. I can talk me being what I am. I can talk anything.
Well, so you're a pioneer there, and we've certainly had a number, including me, jump in behind you. So congratulations on leading the charge. And it's so needed, right? I mean, is that a piece of what drove you, is just that need to get
I didn't realize
our voices out there?
Okay, I'll share with you another reason why I said I got to get off my derriere and move forward on being able to sort of understand the market a little bit for that other company. I told myself, I said, Scott, you gotta do more. Just, I'm laying in bed and I'm rocking back and forth and I'm, visions are coming through my brain. And I'd say, Scott, you gotta know how to do this. Whatever this is, whatever this digital world looks like, you got to be able to learn how to communicate through it. Figure it out. Put yourself out there, and granted, you find my first conversation, my first podcast, yeah, it stunk. It was stinky, but I did it. And then I did it again. I did it again. I did it again. And you just again, move forward. But the reality is that, yeah, we need to, and you need to get over yourself, and you need to just say, yeah, this is my story. This is what we do. This is, and create that connection. It's all here. It's right here. And if I can do it, and if I can pull it all together, and you can, don't come to me and say, God, I can't do that. Don't whine to me.
Absolutely. I'm going to share a story, just so people can feel better about themselves. You know who Titan Gilroy is, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he was my first recording.
Yeah.
My opening day, I had 2 guests. I had Titan and I had Amy Robbins, who heads up Alexo Athletica, concealed carry workout wear for women. No, actually for women and men now, but at the time it was just women. Wow. So it had the 1-2 punch. I recorded with Titan first. I got 5 minutes in and realized what I was using for a platform then was a 2-button push to actually be recording. And I hadn't pushed the second button and had to say, yeah, Titan,
I Titan.
Rewind.
Yeah, that's an
start over.
Oh yeah.
So yes, you're going to screw things up. You're going to look like an idiot. Just do it. I agree with you.
Just do it. Just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. Yeah. No,
and we do need more voices. I mean, you actually said something the other day when we were chatting that I'm going to steal for my own around that need to have these voices out there, if nothing else, for our youth, right?
Yes, we have to just recognize it. We have to inspire the next generation of manufacturers, whatever it might be, and they consume their content in a very unique way. Gone are the days the way we used to consume our content. Flip a newspaper or open up a magazine, whatever it might be, and try to draw some inspiration from that. But now, no. They process information fast. They want it now, and they want to move on. And if you don't recognize that, then it's going to be a bit challenging. Just do it. Right. And you're going to make mistakes, but that's okay, because the life of a digital signature here, like a gnat, like this, life expectancy of a gnat, move on. Nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know who you're going to inspire, in your words, whatever it might be. Boom, do it. And again, it's not heavy lifting. It's not when I started out and I threw up looking at my mixer because I'm thinking to myself, now I got to plug things in. I'm like, God. It's the market's brilliant.
So let me ask you this: what is the best piece of feedback you've gotten? Best piece of praise about your show that you've gotten?
I don't. It's like me. I'm speechless. I'm receiving.
Holy cow!
No,
mark your calendars, folks. It happened. Scott was speechless.
I guess there was an event, and the company was Hitachi. Brought in their one of their big thinkers, right? And I was saying, they said, Scott, you got to interview this guy. Okay, yeah. I'm always saying, okay. I never turn around. I never look away and say, well, let me size this individual up. Let me just sort of make sure they have a story to tell. No, it's always like, yeah, of course. That's what this platform's here about. It's like as many voices as you possibly can. Well, the guy after the fact, was telling my wife, and I'm in this recording booth, and I'm just laughing and being all animated like I normally am because I think this stuff's cool. Mm-hmm. And he just says, he just makes people, he gets the best out of people and he makes them feel good. You're like, oh, blush. I just like,
love it.
Yeah, because I truly believe in industry, no matter who you are or what you do, you are changing the world and you're making it a better place. And if I can't make you realize that, then I fail you. I don't want that. I want you to know how special you are. Like you, Jim. I want people, you put yourself out there. That is important. And we need more. So that's just sort of me.
I thank you. And I agree. Do you know who Victor Malka is?
No.
This one's a little more obscure.
I should be name dropping, and I should be just.
You could do that to me after I tell you who Victor is. So he's a guy who runs a website called The Beauty of Steel. He goes out on his own dime and photographs steel mills and everything adjacent to making steel. And I had him on the show, and he got into this rant about industry and the steel makers and everyone involved. He's like, I keep telling him we've got to stop apologizing. He says, you go to a steel website, you don't see steel. You see flowers and trees and fields. Like, why did they do that? Steel is so cool. He's like, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but the pictures I take, I think are beautiful, but you won't find them on a steel company website. It's because they're apologizing for making steel. Why do we do that? They built the world.
I have no clue. I agree with you 100%. I took a tour, speaking of steel, up in Hamilton, Ontario. There's Stelco and DeFasco. I can't remember which one I went to. One was union, one was non-union. My uncle worked there. And he goes, hey, you want a tour? Yes. I mean, I'm already in the car. I'm halfway in already to go to see this steel mill. And we go and we take it. And it's still inside of me. And that was decades ago, right? And agreed. It's cool stuff. It's science, baby. It's science. Now, I agree with you 100%. And I just think we just need more of that. We just do.
Yep. Yeah.
I think the unapologetic and the reality is that you are changing the world. Just embrace that. Just be that and accept it. And you are.
Yep.
So,
but that's also a place where we have allowed ourselves to be beaten down. And the sad fact is, anytime we as humans do something to improve our lot, we're also creating disruptions in nature. And so we've gotten so on the defensive about that, rather than saying, we're going to minimize that, but at the same time, we're going to do stuff to make life better and more affordable for the people we serve.
We are. That's the beauty of what we do. It is always this driving for greater efficiencies, better reliability, whatever it might be, more output. There's that engine, that cerebral engine doesn't stop, and it's like, okay, we're here, we've made it, we've hit our Shangri-La and no more. No, it doesn't stop. You have an obligation to and let's just bring it stateside. This is the biggest consumer market in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
USA. USA.
We have to succeed. We just do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what we are. And it's so funny. This is because I do a lot of international stuff. You see the culture, the behavior of Americans and how it's sort of fun to see how we're always like, woohoo, shoo, 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 riding a doggone horse and slapping it and riding it and having a grand old time. And
cowboy hat.
Somebody from let's say Europe, and they're every bit as capable, every bit as skilled, but they're not woohoo, woo, woo, and it's sort of unique. It's just that's what industry's all about. It's people.
Unique and to be celebrated, I think.
Yes. Every day.
Let me ask you this. You kind of went in that direction. What do you think about reshoring? Where do we stand?
Yeah,
how do you think the future looks, and what do we need to be doing?
Yeah, that's a $1 million.
Give you the soliloquy for the rest of the show right there.
Yeah. Because what I was thinking when there's this drive, it's in DC. They're pushing. They want more manufacturing. They're incentivizing companies and more companies to come here and do more. Great. I'm all great. But you can never get around the fact that there's a people equation associated with that. And because the United States, have done a great job at discouraging the next generation, go to college, do the thing. I'm not there to sit there and slap somebody around because they decided to go to college. It's just we disincentivized the younger individual, the next generation from pursuing these positions, this manufacturing. So we got that challenge. We got to change that. That is a reality. Hopefully our technical, network, colleges, whatever you want to call them, are realizing how important they are. And then you just, I don't have it. It's an automation equation too, Can I find the bodies? And it's a marketing equation too. We just need to market better and say, no, it's not a dirty job anymore. This is pretty cool stuff. It's a career. You could go. If I had to do it all over again, I was a lineman before, long ago, climbing towers, getting yelled at by old crotchety, crusty linemen. But that was the way it was.
Yeah, right.
But if I had to do it all over again, and I see automation and all the stuff that's taking place within industry, within manufacturing, whoa, I would be traveling the world. I would be the best I could possibly be and travel, baby. Yeah. That's what's available. Good. It's a glorious future. But I don't have an answer, Jim, on that. They're going to do it. We talked about a capital. We in our last conversation, we talked about capital. I'm a manufacturer. I need capital. Where do I go? Who do I trust? I need it. If you want me to reshore my, what I'm doing overseas, I need something over here.
Yep.
To expand. It's just who do I trust?
Right.
I just think it's a really energetic environment. I wish I had hair.
Well, by the time this show airs, I will have a Forbes article out there about the capital situation and the breakdown between private equity and manufacturers. And again, we talked a few days ago. In just those few days, I become that much more thinking that I've got to get actively involved in that capital equation.
You do. You've been a part of business. I've been a part of business. And it always gets down to, hey, that's a great idea. That's wonderful. We'll expand this way. And where's the money, right? It's always gets out.
Who's going to do it?
Where's the money? What's that? And it it's sort of like, Jim, it's sort of like AI, right? So we talk about AI. Everybody, it's ubiquitous.
Incessantly.
It's everywhere now. It's just like, right? But before, it was like one day people were talking about it. The next day, it was real, right? Flip the switch. And then, of course, just like anybody around the world in the market, they're going to say, I'm an expert. And all of a sudden, everybody's hanging their shingle saying, look at me. Look at me. I'm an AI person. I know what's going on. You know? And then all of a sudden, now I'm a manufacturing guy, and I realize I'm online and I'm looking for information. I realize I need to know something about it. Bingo. That's when I realized quickly that I don't know who to trust. Same thing in the capital markets. Yeah, people are coming. I can get you approved for $1 gazillion. Really? Can you? Yeah, I can. However, who are the ones that are real players out there who have a passion to be able to ensure success?
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah, and be partners.
Partners. Yeah, it is. Big time.
Yep.
I did the hand clap. If anybody's out there on video, I did that before he had partners.
There you go. Now, before we get too far away from the workforce side, you had a thing called Leaf Services. Tell us about that.
Leaf Services was that industrial maintenance company. It was really a staff augmentation. So here in Louisiana, you have a lot of industry, and a lot of industries need bodies. It fluctuates up and down. We have an outage. We don't have an outage. We have this and that. We have whatever. And we did a lot of river work. So I did a lot of barge work, did all that just because of my company that I helped take public. And so I did that. And then, of course, your typical, you got a forklift driver? Yeah, I got a forklift driver. You got a bumper truck? Yeah, I got a bumper truck. Yeah, you just say yeah all the time, and then you try to figure it out. But that was, and it was always, and there's nothing you could do about it. There was always churn of people.
Yep.
It just was the nature of the beast, because if I had someone that was a skilled electrician, I could only pay him so much. And that individual is going to say, well, that's fine. It keeps, pays the bills, but I'm going to find something else too, eventually. And so I always had on my, on my desk, who can I find? What can I do? And then, of course, you get approached by a company saying, Scott, we're interested in knowing what you can do for this project. Yikes. So you go out and you try to find the team, you try to pull it together. You just can't have people on your books. It's just a financial nightmare. That was it. And that was
I was going to say it's interesting because I didn't put two and two together. I read about that on your LinkedIn page. I didn't realize upfront it was your maintenance services company, because you talk so much about that need to manage and develop your workforce.
These were my obsession when I was running that company.
Yeah.
3 things.
That makes sense now.
1, how do I find the people, right? How do I replace the people how do I, whatever? Because you get people always. 2, how do I respond to opportunities? Like, here's an RFP. What do I do? How do I price it? What do I do? 3, to do all of that, I needed to constantly market and sell. And by that time, it was 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week that I never slept. And of course, I have 4. This one kept me awake at night. Safety.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Safety. Safety. Nothing worse than looking at your phone. It's your site manager. You go, why is he calling me? What's going on? Oh my gosh. Hey, what's going on? We had an accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, that sucks up your time, and it's rightly so. Well, it's
Yeah.
just
Yep.
awful. Don't, if you have a listener out there, don't do that business. Don't. I had flowing hair, and now I don't because I'm in that business.
Used to look like David Lee Roth, right? Back in the day.
I did. Hey, and then I
Had
lived
the
that.
Fabio hair.
Yeah, that was quite the dream. Anyway, that's why I'm passionate. I understand the labor side and the people side of business, and so when we start talking about, how do we fill those spots, we got to do a better job at promoting, and that's everybody in general, promoting the fact that manufacturing and industry is where you want to be for a career. Train. Let me ask you this. Do you think our educational system is nimble enough to be able to rise up and satisfy this need?
No, I've said that again and again, that if you're in manufacturing and you think someone's coming to save you, you're sorely misguided. Our education system's a dumpster fire, and just to get it back to teaching the fundamentals is going to be heavy lift enough. So developing that future skilled trade / manufacturing cohort that we're going to need is going to be on industry, period.
Yeah.
And with partnerships, like you mentioned earlier, the trade schools, the tech schools, the community colleges.
Yeah. And I think manufacturers have to step up, and I like apprenticeship programs. And the reason, I think we mentioned this in our conversation before, when I became a journeyman lineman, I started out as a grunt. Okay. Yeah, I'm a grunt. And that means digging a ditch. And that means getting yelled at. And that means pulling up heavy objects on a pole, right? And it is what it is. But once you get tested by that, then you're into a real solid apprenticeship program. But that apprenticeship program, what I had, was you're out in the field. Again, you're getting yelled at by the professionals who want you to be safe, but, and you just do it. We've got to step up and do that.
So there is one element of that I think we've got to talk about and figure out. Yeah, you and I kind of both went through the school of hard knocks and had those uncomfortable times of people not just correcting us, but probably going a little to an extreme and rule by fear and all these kind of bad things from the past. And yet there's an element of that in the real world that you just have to deal with, right? So how do you bridge the gap between, number one, our younger generations simply aren't going to tolerate what we did. Number two, to throw the net wider because we don't have the numbers anyway, and we want to draw people who previously may not have been attracted to trades or manufacturing in. How do we strike that balance between having that authority and teaching people right, but not going overboard and driving them away?
Yeah. And honestly, don't have thin skin. For me, I remember getting yelled at, and rightly so. I probably deserved it, right? And we're dealing with individuals that weren't educated in, how to manage people. No, it's like, hey, you're on a pole with me, and you better not put my life at risk. Don't do that, and get yelled at. And
they're going to say it quite emphatically, right?
Yeah. And so I just remember all right, okay, whatever, you just roll along. You learned your lesson. I think we have to start young. Let's get out there and let's just, because I think I shared this with you too. I was in second grade, and it was a video. It was a film. It was a film, and it was talking about the distribution of bread from manufacturing in all the sources. It's like, I remember that to this day, and how it got to the shelf. And I thought, that's pretty cool. I like that. We don't do that. We need to do that, because the stuff out there is pretty cool.
Very
Go
cool.
to these shows. Like, you were at FabTech, and you posted something that said, "Oh my gosh, look at the size of this stuff."
I know the fab in fab tech is fabrication, but it really should be fabulous because that's what it was.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You stare at
Oh
it,
my gosh.
you stare.
Mind blowing.
It is. Of course, yours probably, I know I did. I always think, how did they wheel that bad boy in here? Well, how did they get it into this spot?
Yeah,
Where's the dock? How do you do this?
for sure.
They do
Yeah,
it
the size of some of those machines is just staggering.
staggering. And they're all hooked up with power, and they're
Coming
stamping
away.
and they're making things, and they're cutting, and it's like, wow, check it out. I mean, it has to be weeks before they can get all of. I mean, you have to.
I will say, when I was leaving, there were busloads of students from somewhere who were leaving at the same time. So
Yeah.
a big cohort of the group I was there with students.
Good,
Great.
good. See, that's where we need to be. You just accept the fact.
And what a great place to take them. I think we talked previously about the liability factor. Some manufacturers just aren't going to let kids into their shop because of the risk, and both risk to them getting injured, but also the risk to the business. If that happened, what would be the monetary situation? And so taking them in a place like that where everything's controlled and things are safe and clean and organized, and they still get to see all that cool stuff. It's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have stuff on my desk that was and I think this was there. I'll share it with your list. This was laser cut at FabTech.
Wow,
right there, man. They were making these, so here it is. And
that's amazing.
I interviewed the guy, right? And I said, "What is that?" And of course, I geek out on it. And goes, "You want one?"
What's so funny about that is my very first trade show, and this is going back to, 1986, I think it was. I think it was early in my senior year of college. Went to a trade show, and they had this new machine there, new technology called CNC. And they were, making chips and machining pieces, and same deal. They machined a piece and took it out of this brand new technology called CNC machine and handed it to me and said, "Yeah, you can take that with you." Man, was I happy.
Heart flutter.
Right.
And that's
Took it
enough.
into the mechanical engineering shop the next week to show my professor, "Yeah, look what this new machine did."
Come rolling in like you own the world. Yeah, look at me, man. I've got
It was cool.
spring in my step because of
For sure.
but it's true.
Yep.
But it's true. Yeah, my brother-in-laws, they had CNC shops. And then, of course, I would always felt like a little kid sitting at their lap, asking them questions about what new machine do you have? And they were talking about it. It's this, and it spins, and it's, and one of my brothers, he would make dental implants.
Oh yeah.
And then he'd bring it out. He goes, "See what I made? I'm making these." And he's just like hushed tones.
The spiritual experience.
It was. And he was just, "See?" Like, yes. Wow. Yeah. It's cool stuff.
Very cool.
We've got to bring that energy. We've just got to bring it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I would.
That's what'll draw the young people in. Absolutely.
Just is. Yeah. Stop thinking about ums and ahs and just, man, bring the passion, baby.
Yep.
Better be passionate about it.
Absolutely. Yep. So we are almost out of time. What haven't we touched on that you want to get out there before we wrap up?
I'm a big fan of doing marketing right.
Say more.
Yeah. Here's the challenge. And you know as well as I do. You have somebody on your show. You deliver the goods. You're saying you're fantastic. You're wonderful. Then it goes into their marketing group, whatever the company is, Acme Company. And they'll, "Hey, we had this conversation. Hey, that's fantastic. You need to step up your game. These are assets. These are valuable assets for you to use to help you succeed. And you just do it. Like when I first started out, no kidding, right? Somebody said, create a landing page. I look around going, what tarnation is a landing page? You go on that journey. He's like, okay, here, let's create a landing page. Now all of a sudden I create landing pages. It's what I do. Anyway, you need to do the same. Industry, manufacturing need to do the same. Take this stuff seriously. This is what we have. This is what's available. Get that message out. Create that relationship. You have at your fingertips all of the tools necessary to create that relationship, meaningful relationship, not just something that says, "Hi, I'm Scott MacKenzie. I deliver on industrial maintenance, and you need to listen to me." Nobody's going to do that. They require relationships, and that means knowing the individual. And the only way that I know how to know the individual is that you engage meaningfully, and make it a habit. Do it. We need you to succeed. That's my big beef. Now I'm stepping off my soapbox.
You said it exceptionally well, Scott MacKenzie. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, it was fun. See, it's fun. You got a heck of a show, Jim. It's all good, man.
Thank you. As do you. And I'll absolutely have you back on. Let's connect back up in a few months and compare notes and see how we're doing.
Well, I think, just so that you're on the same page, I'm headed down that same capital market too.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll definitely compare notes on that.
I think we need to sort of,
because
right there, baby.
I'll tell you the beauty of that is there's going to be no end to the demand. You think about the baby boomers going out, and now Gen X going out, and lots of people who don't have kids, either don't have kids at all or don't have kids who want to take over a business. They're looking for a buyer, or young, scrappy guys are looking for investors. There's going to be plenty of opportunity.
It's going to be crazy. Crazy good, not
crazy good. Absolutely.
Not crazy.
We will walk that path together, my friend.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you. And as always, folks, thanks to you out in the audience. You are why we're here. I think this may have been my most fun show ever. So I always say we're going to try to beat it next week. I don't know who my guest is next week, so I can't promise what it's going to be about, but we're going to shoot to even best the phenomenal Scott MacKenzie show.
Thank you very much. Thanks, man. Cheers.
Thanks again, folks. This is Jim Vanoski with Manufacturing Talks. Be here every Tuesday. Come join us. So long. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vanoski. Watch for new episodes dropping every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.